tell me a little bit about, what happened over the weekend.
So on Saturday evening, just after 6 p.m., Seaside Fire was dispatched to water rescue. It was reported that there was three teams in distress out in front of Moe's off of the turnaround. And so we responded, and when we arrived, found that there was one of the three missing, a 12-year-old had been missing for a few minutes by the time we got there, and so the teams launched skis and then also water rescue swimmers and did a search and ended up the team onshore spotted someone standing about 8 blocks north of where they originally went missing, and so then they went over and discovered that that was the missing person and assisted them back to shore.
Once you found her, what was her sort of story about what had happened?
So they were playing out in the water. They were about shoulder deep, and that she started getting swept away, was struggling and, trying to stay afloat, and eventually stopped fighting the current and started focusing on floating. And then eventually, kind of thought about giving up. And this is what she was telling crews, and that she then, saw the skis coming and then tried to stand up and found herself standing on a sandbar.
I mean, this is such a lucky situation. She was in there for what, 20, 30 minutes, right?
Yep, approximately 20 to 30 minutes.
What's the water temperature right now?
On Saturday it was 50 degrees, so it's cold. So if you're out there swimming without a wetsuit and any thermal protection, you can start to go into hypothermia within a few minutes. Which starts to degrade your cognitive thinking and decision making, and also your muscle response and the ability to continue swimming. So yeah, she was very lucky.
It sounds like she did the right thing in not fighting the current. Do you have advice on if somebody, I mean, obviously don't get in the water, right? Especially on a day like today, especially without a wetsuit. But if you do find yourself in that situation, what's the advice route?
Sure. Yeah. So that's a key factor, right? Is not going into panic mode and remain calm. She did the right thing. Is she could feel herself getting tired, and so going into more survival mode and conserving energy, staying afloat. Some other things, if you have still the ability to swim, is if you find yourself in a current and you're getting pulled out, is to swim parallel with the beach and swim back into the waves, and hopefully those waves are going to start pushing you back in and assist you with swimming back to shore. But yeah, if some things to think about is knowing the conditions of the ocean, checking to make sure the swell not too big, the temperature, having the right equipment before you go out, and just kind of looking for those conditions that are not as favorable for swimming.
Um, it sounds like she did get pulled out from the email that you guys sent. It was assumed that she got pulled out to the breakers, past the breakers, and then got pushed back in by the waves so it sounds like she might have been in a rip current. Is that kind of the assumption here?
Yeah, and that's the thing about the ocean, is that the ocean is dynamic, right? It's not like a flat water lake scenario or a pool. It is constantly moving in multiple directions. The depth varies constantly. So, if anybody is unsure of their swimming ability, and they're, at that shoulder depth, anytime they pick up their feet, they are moving in some direction or another, right? So they could be bouncing along and it's, they're touching at one moment, and they could step in a drop off and then be overhead. And if they are not a decent enough swimmer to, sustain their, head above water for a few minutes, and in this case, it was 20 to 30 minutes, then you could have really a dire situation really quickly. So it's important to know your abilities before you even go out there, and be more conservative if you're not a really strong swimmer, especially in the situation of being in the ocean, because again, it's dynamic, it's always moving, in some fashion. And in the winter, and when the swells and the storm conditions are, it's more intense in that moving and in dynamic situation.
What was the day like in the ocean? I mean, you guys went out there with water skis. What were the waves and what were the size of
Yeah,
the waves?
the waves were calling for up to 8 foot swells, so it was
Jeez,
bigger. Yeah. So the conditions were a little bit more intense than normal. So
she's
again,
really
she's
lucky.
lucky. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit about that rescue and how many people were involved and resource wise?
Um, so yeah, I didn't make it that day, so I know that they deployed uh at least one ski and two water rescue swimmers. So and that means that they are so we have a jet ski and an operator, and then a rescue swimmer would be a person on a rescue board conducting searches out there, utilizing those tools. And then you have the beach personnel, so crews on the beach helping launch and running commands, the incident commands, and then also conducting searches. We also had police involvement, so police responded and assisted with searching from the beach and gathering information from bystanders.
And you said there was a helicopter too?
Coast Guard was launched, and at what time they arrived, I'm not sure in the scenario of the search, but I could get you the kind of the dispatch log, which shows you kind of a little generic of when people showed up and what was going on.
I'm told that you guys might have some like dash camera or any kind of footage of all of that. Do you have anything you can share?
I can look. It all depends, and I don't think they necessarily. So what happens is our dash cam. They show up, they face the ocean, and just from what I'm thinking, if they indeed went off of Moe's, right? They started at Moe's in front of the turnaround, but ended up rescuing the person 8 blocks north. You wouldn't have captured that actual scene on video, but I can look. Yeah.
Um, is there anything else that you want to share? I mean, Oregon coast is a dangerous place, and this time of year, people like to, come out from other states and don't. This wasn't the situation here, but a lot of people don't really know that our coastline is not like California, Southern California, and things can get dicey.
The conditions are always changing, and especially in the winter, they're more intense, so there's things like you gotta watch out for, logs, for example, and tidal surges, sort of thing that 1 minute that water line could be 400 yards out, and then the next it's upon you and sweeping you away. And the old saying goes that never turn your back on the ocean. That is why, is because it is always changing, and it's not always what you think it is. And so you always have to keep an eye on it, and you have to respect the ocean, otherwise it can get you.
The grandmother as well as the father of the other kiddo want to let you guys know they're very grateful for everything you did to help out in that situation. And yeah, they wanted to pass that message along.
Oh, good, thank you, and I will pass that on to the crews.
How are the crews doing? It sounds like it was a difficult operation. Is everyone rested up and
Yep, they're all rested and ready to go for the next one.
all right? Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of anything significant, but yeah, just know that the ocean is dynamic and it's powerful, and it should be respected.
Thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.